And here we are, kids of the world. By the way, I don't know how you get a thumbs up and nobody's in the live stream. That's the first I've ever seen. So nobody's watching, but we got a thumbs up. How does that work, Ben
How does
Barton?
that work? I have no idea. There's
Maybe
nobody
they
in at all.
maybe YouTube gives you like the first thumbs up and they're like, "Good job, you connected and now you're live." And then people might show up. We're up to 5. Wednesday, December 9th, and it is the year 2020, the year we'd love to forget. And we don't know if there's going to be 1 or 2 more episodes this year. Christmas Eve falls on a Thursday. New Year's Eve falls on a Thursday. I have a feeling that we'll probably be off for the last 2 weeks. We'll see. Next week, for sure, we'll be here. But it's all to be determined and up in the air. Good. Should I technically say good morning, Ben Barton? Good morning to you.
Yes. By 1 minute, it is the morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
It's been a while. It's been, because I was thinking, I don't think it's been like 4 weeks. The last time I was on and we were all together doing the last episode was before the election in the US. And it feels like an awful lot's happened since then.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yes, and just if you notice that we're a 2 up here, this is a 2 shot. That's because our good friend Caleb PIKE, who is the third partner in crime of the 3 amigos, the 3 musketeers, he is having to take care of his family, and that happens sometimes. So we have conflicts and scheduling things that go on, but we now have Ben back, and let's just say that we've got people in the chat here. Pat, Sam, Sky, Bryce, Colin, Harrison, Andres, Bill. Looks like a hacker. Yeah, I love a hacker short. I don't know how to say that. Come on, I'm not German. But I do like a Weiss beer. And thank you for saying that our content's good compared to others. I don't know what that means, but I appreciate it. And Tyler, good to have you. Bryce, Daniel, man. Glad you made it. So let's first just say that what Camera Flask is becoming is, I think, probably what might have actually been the original intention, selfishly, which is that every week we get together and we just have a chat, we have a drink, and we interact with the chat. And questions come up about production, we talk about things. That's kind of the way it's been going for the last few weeks. I'm kind of digging it, just have to say.
I like it. I like it for many reasons. I like this kind of free-flowing form factor of the show. I like that the chat's more involved. It's also great not having to prepare anything, from a purely selfish point of view.
You lazy bastard. Yeah. So, yeah, I do agree, and it's nice. So, to that end, because we have people here now, and it's time to drink. Though Tyler cannot have a drink, he's going to go climbing. Yet climbing and drinking do not go well together. But a Breckenridge bourbon afterwards. What are you having today in your fine libation world?
I am having one from the decanter, so the cooking whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah. The Daily Driver, which is the Queen Margot 5-year-old one from Lidl, which is pretty good. And I haven't had any whiskey in the house until last week for so long. One of the weird things about this year is that my drinking has become a lot more sporadic than usual. I'm not drinking, and I guess the seasons wise, I don't drink a lot of beer in the winter, and
right.
That's normally my kind of thing in the summer, is I drink way too much of that stuff. So I have noticed the last month that I've really not been drinking so much. So this is nice to get back on the whiskey.
Nice. Okay, good. And then I will say that for me, well, first of all, come on, Daniel, Scott Design. Are you crazy? Right here, super sticker, $3 from Daniel Scott Design. Pair character stretching his arm forward, raising his thumb up. I like it. Is that because I have a pear-shaped head? Probably, but that's okay with me. I am going to continue sort of my theme from last week, which is I think I did. I had some wine, and I'm having wine again. So this is a local wine to the Willamette Valley. Oh, crap, mic bump. Erath 2016 Pinot Noir. And I'm having a glass. This is my first one. I didn't drink any. I just had letting it breathe a little bit, get some air in there.
Is this from your
Cheers.
local place?
Well, local places. We've got like 247 local places, so this is one of them. So here we go. Wait, hold on. Got to bring us 2 up, and here we go, and boom, there we go. Oh, lovely. I've had this before. Okay, Bryce has finished finals, having a beer. Go get him. We got Jago in here now. David is having eggnog and Myers rum. Okay, though I have a rum story. And Tyler says Erath is really good, and it is. So, first of all, one of the reasons that we might not do a pre-Christmas Eve Camera Flask, meaning the day before, is because depending on how much food I make, even though the holiday gatherings are a little bit smaller this year, remember that I do have, and my wife has Italian descent. So no matter, even if you're cooking for 5 or 7 people, the enormity of the amount of food is generally enormous. So there may be a lot of cooking going on. We're thinking that we're going to do sort of more Italian for Christmas Eve. We generally standing rib roast, but we do some flip-flops, and there's something called the 7 fishes, which we're not going to do, but we will honor and have some seafood as well. So I don't know. What about you for Christmas Eve? Is it Christmas Eve for you, or is that sort of like, is it really Christmas Day? How is it for you and your family, especially now?
The 24th is Christmas, the main day of Christmas in the Czech Republic, and the 25th, obviously, in the UK. I'm making a little dash to the UK next week to do a job with Jambo Jago, who's in the chat, next week, which will be my first time in the UK for a year. I haven't seen my mum or my dad or my brother or sister, so it'd be kind of nice to tie all that in to see them before. Yeah, it'd be lovely. So I've managed to clear things to make that happen. Weather dependent job, which luckily it's looking like the end of next week is going to allow that to happen. So excited about that. But yeah, here is the 24th, and here is a weird one for Christmas. So obviously UK, I would think fairly similar to US. Turkey, is that, do you do turkey for Christmas dinner on the 25th?
Well, in the US, no. And by the way, that cable coming out of your right can of your headphones is crazy. Now that the other side, that
you know,
one,
like that. It's kind of like, yeah,
it's like you can make fun of my glasses. No, so turkey, of course, in the States is really all about Thanksgiving. That's when the turkey happens. So unlike the UK, so for us, you know, it really depends, I think, on your heritage and your background. You know, we've generally done a standing rib roast. We will sometimes do Italian. Some people like to do a ham. Some people do a turkey, but I think that in the U.S., because turkey is such the Thanksgiving thing, when you get to Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, you're really thinking about different things. You know, it's more about family traditions for then. Same with Thanksgiving. You know, those things. Yeah,
that's good. I mean, I think we switch it around a bit. The traditional food for here for the 24th, the main thing is carp, which
really,
I'm not a big fan. This cooking show that I'm just finishing up editing now, the last episode that we shot, and also the last episode that is going to go out on the 23rd, which was actually shot about a mile away. We've been all over the country for this, and this one was shot. It was my local one. And we did carp. So they breed the carp in. You've got to get them from the right ponds. That makes a difference. Where is the carp grown? Is it been bred in a sandy pond, which is what's here? And therefore they taste a lot cleaner than if they're in muddy ponds and then they're just minging. You then have to soak them in milk.
Say that word again. They're just what?
What did I say?
I don't know. They're just minging? Something like that.
Minging. They're minging. Yeah, they're horrible. And then, So people then, if they get that meat and they soak it in milk for 2 or 3 days, the other thing that Czechs do, because you get all these stands that pop up all over town centres at this time of year, selling carp. So what they have often is a great big barrel on the street with live carp in them. So what they will do is take the carp out and just cosh it in front of you and then put it in a bag. That happens quite a bit. I remember the first time my kids witnessed this before we moved back here, and that was a bit of a, look at all the lovely fish. Oh. Yeah. But the thing that people traditionally do, and still happens to some degree, they buy the fish live, put it in some kind, and these things are big, put it in some kind of container to get it home alive, and then they put it in the bathtub for like a week before, and then kill it themselves because then it's been in completely clean fresh water for the week, and that apparently
it takes all that nastiness out,
the muddiness out. So I think it's not my favorite meat, but it's interesting because the three chefs that the format of the show is each week we go visit somewhere, then they each from that ingredient from that particular place, so it might have been cheese or meat, beef, whatever, so they each come up with a different dish, and two of them are Italian, or both slightly different styles in what they cook, and the third one, he's Vietnamese. So he's quite kind of interesting takes on things. So I'm going to try, I think, for the first time in years, actually have carp, which we don't normally because no one really likes it. Wife does, but everyone else.
But why would you do that to yourself?
Well, we don't. That's what I mean. Normally we don't.
But you're doing
However,
it.
No, but I tried these, all three of them.
Yeah.
And one of them in particular was really, really, really good. So I think the one that I think I'm going to do is the carp soup, and have that as a start, and then do something else.
All right. Yeah.
That was really nice. The way the carp was cooked was amazing before it then went in the soup. That looked really nice. So I'm going to do that, I think.
Carp soup sounds good. Okay, that sounds good. And then a different protein for your main meal. Chris says having a spiral ham sounds like some sort of horrible procedure. The amount of spiral ham that's in the United States is out of control, by the way. What else?
Bryce, yes, it's alive in the bathtub. That's kind of it passes clean water through it for the week. Yeah.
My dad used to fish on the Long Island Sound, and he would fish for bluefish, which can be massive. And one time he came home with the bluefish, and he put it in our bathtub before he could just process it and break it down and everything. And we had an Airedale, and the Airedale stood in front of the door of the bathroom for like a day and a half and wouldn't let us in, became very, very territorial about this bluefish. We couldn't even get in there to take a freaking shower. It was unbelievable. I was like, this is giant bluefish in the tub. Yeah, it wasn't, but it was on ice, and and then he got it all processed and put it in the freezer. Colin is going to go shoot in an hour, well, now probably 45 minutes, with the S1H and S1 with native lenses, loving the look of the footage. Ben, you should probably consider it. That's what Colin says. There you go. I still a little skeeved out about the eggnog and the rum. And what else do we have equipment-wise? And Ben, excited for the Aperture 600D Pro, ? Also, lasagna is a family tradition for me on Christmas Eve. Let's just talk about lasagna for a second. There's two ways.
What have we become?
Well, I love food.
I can't get away from food stuff.
Almost anything.
I know.
Almost anything. So I think there's really two approaches to lasagna. One is kind of to do a bechamel, right? And you do the bechamel and you put that in. The way the Italian Americans do it a lot is you don't have a bechamel. You'll basically make a tomato base, usually with meat sauce in there. And then we layer with different layers of ricotta cheese, which is very creamy, and then shredded mozzarella cheese or fresh mozzarella cheese. And you keep building up the layers, so on and so forth. Sometimes I've even done very thin slices of Italian sausage in between them. So when you cut in, you get these pieces of sausage. But the bechamel way is a little bit different, where you're basically making a roux, and then you build it up with milk, based roux. You know what I'm talking about. You know what bechamel is, right? It's butter,
yes,
and flour and milk, and that's I think more people in the UK would make a lasagna that way, and even some people in Italy do it that way. So Tyler, let us know how your lasagna is made if you know the recipe. What about that 600D? Sorry, I just had to. I'm thinking about food all the time right now. Go ahead.
We need like a second thing. 600. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Just more power. That's just all I ever want in that stuff. It's just more.
Yeah.
That's it. I haven't ordered
Isaac,
one yet, but I'm keen.
no. Yeah. David's 600D shipped today. Congratulations. Ever make my own ricotta cheese? No, I have not, Bryce. But I have seen it made. I might do that at some point. By the way, let's see. Isaac says, I've got Fujis for both photo and video, being drawn to the A7S III or R5 from Canon for the much better AF, as Fuji is crap. It can be pretty crap. I don't know if I can get it to wig out on this or not. It's being so cooperative today.
For the first time ever.
I mean, it's like a far third, I would say. You know, it's definitely better than most. But with what Sony and Canon are doing with the AF right now, it's bonkers. I just did a shoot this weekend where I was directing, and it was a C300 Mark III, and we had it was a choreographer, and we were shooting with the AF system, and it was holding focus, I would say 95% of the time. And we set it so that the AF was really slow and it wouldn't latch onto other objects as quickly. And so she would do like turns and stuff. And we weren't shooting at a 2.8. I mean, it's dancing on green screen. So we were shooting 29.97 at a 90-degree shutter angle. And we were shooting at a 2000 ISO. And we wound up at a 5.6 or a 5.6/8 split. And the focus was holding almost all of the time. It's like if she put a hat on or something or really went into profile, then we had problems. But it was pretty rock solid. I was pretty impressed. So they're getting it. They're figuring it out.
Certainly are. Yeah. I don't know. That's always been one of the things with the Fuji. I like that stuff, but it's just the AF's quite important to me these days. As lazy as I'm getting in my old age, you see.
Yes.
This is it. 360. If you mean by the Russian salad, like the potato thing with the gherkins and all that chopped into it, yeah. That's my favorite thing about Christmas here, the potato salad. I just eat that stuff for days. Yeah.
I'll eat any of that stuff.
It's amazing. It's
Tyler says, lasagna like the Italian way. That's a good answer. I mean, that really isn't an answer, just so you know, Tyler, because there's a lot of different ways that Italians make lasagna. And if they're Italian, it'll be regional. Then you go to somewhere like the UK, and that'll be also influenced by their region. And then you go to the United States, and you talk about American Italians, Italian Americans, forget about it. It's all over the place. It's a mess, but I'll take your answer. Ryan, has Alton Brown influenced your filmmaking? Absolutely not, though he was a DP before he started his cookery life. And I've enjoyed his work and his food. I have too, Ryan. He does seem like he might be just a tad into himself, but I might be wrong about that. Do you know who Alton Brown is? Have you seen him?
No.
He was a DP and I guess you could say filmmaker, but he also very science oriented, and he came up with this show called Good Eats, which was a long time ago. And then he basically became the darling child of the Food Network and kind of hosted more shows than God. He's an interesting character, very smart, really good information. Seems to be slightly into himself. I don't know. I might be wrong. Wrong about that, but I'm just saying.
There's an interesting point from Daniel saying 92 episodes. Wow, let's see a keg stand for the big 100. One, I have no idea what a keg stand is, but also we probably are at 100. Jem's accounting on the episode numbers is notoriously shaky. So this may be 100. Who knows? It's somewhere between like 85 and 120. It's in somewhere in that range where we are right now. I've been
counting properly for a long time, which is not an admission that I was counting incorrectly before. But I will say this, okay, Mr. Ben Barden. I think that at a certain point, because we're in the sort of mid-90s now, at a certain point, I may just keep labeling each episode the same episode number until there's a really good reason to have an episode 100. Why not? You know, here's episode 100. We've hit 3 digits.
I like that.
I wait.
I like that logic.
We'll have like episode 99 will be like there'll be 20 episode 99s. I might actually do it, by the way. And then you've got Sicilian too. Jerome says, yeah, because Sicilians are not Italian. Let's be honest, and we know that to be true. And if anybody argues with it, then they don't know somebody who's Sicilian, or they're not Sicilian. That's all I have to say. Because okay, and if you're Italian, you can never say you're Sicilian. But if you're Sicilian, you don't really want to say you're Italian, but you kind of are. But you are Sicilian first and foremost. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
And Kit, I don't think we really smacked down. Did we? Did we really? You didn't get smacked down on the AF thing, did you, Kit? We're not that. We're not like
if
that.
If we did it, it'd have been very gentle.
It was all out of love. It really was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Bryce, Ben, I don't know what a keg stand is. What's a keg stand?
Yeah, let's know about that. He is
Ben doesn't
engaging.
know what a keg stand is.
He said, I don't know. I don't know what a keg stand is. Oh, you mean to hold a keg?
You don't know what it is.
I guess it's a keg. I think it's a stand to hold a keg.
That's the floor.
Dude,
I've always found when we've had kegs.
Andres, by the way, just so you know, last year or the year before, one of my closest friends is Puerto Rican. Last year, or was it the year before? He can't come to Christmas Eve this year, but we did have Puerto Rican rice and peas, and that shit is delicious. Let me just tell you. And potato salad is out. I'll eat any kind of potato salad in the world if it's made of. Actually, potatoes might be the perfect food. So that's. I mean, there's no nutritional value compared. Well, there's not much nutritional value compared to some things. But if I had to pick a food, if I was gonna take fat of some kind and I wanted something to soak up that fat and make it taste good, it would be a potato for me. Just gotta say.
Yeah, for sure. That's the Irish in me.
That's, yeah, I love. Hey, my grandpa was Irish. Well, we know this, as you know. He was a bigamist. I found out about 5, 6, 7 years ago. So he had a whole family in Sheffield. He passed away before I was born, and then he had a whole other family in Ireland, and he would go back and forth between the two.
And neither knew about the existence of the other.
Well, I don't know because, you know, my grandmother, the English one in Sheffield, she was agoraphobic and she wouldn't go outside. And I have no idea what the history is, but maybe it was, you know, some mental, you know, who knows. But I'm sure that boy drank, that's for sure, with those two families and having to deal with that.
That's it. I also forgot that we have this connection with Sheffield, that because your mum's from Sheffield, my dad's from Sheffield.
Yes, absolutely.
Links.
Well, you know what we should find out is we should find out if there was any chance that your dad knew anybody, you know, that I know from Sheffield. I don't know a lot of people, but there's a few, and I'll see if he knew the Schofields, or my mom is the Mack family, and yeah. So there you go. What is happening here? Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Here we are. Camille coming in. €5 for the booze. I love it. Very holiday.
And Camille, thank you very much, because €5 pretty much buys me a whole bottle of my little whiskey. So,
and by the way, that never gets old, having a super chat for the booze. It's not a problem here. So we know what a beer keg is. It's when you're upside down drinking from a beer keg. What is it? What was the term again? It sounds really horrible. What's that called?
Keg stand.
Oh, keg stand. Okay, so I guess you're basically like you've got a keg stand, and then you're yeah. Okay, there's the horrible AF kicking in. Beautiful.
Did you ever go to that? Yeah, there you go. That's why you don't get that. Did you ever go? There was this bar which has all been kind of quite gentrified and tarted up, but it was like the last bar in any of the hotels on the strip, and it was in O'Hara's, I think, that used to do like college drinking games at beer pong and stuff.
No,
I think they still do it, but it's now on some like roulette kind of table, and it was the first NAB that I went to when I met all this bunch of people, and they took me to all these drinking sessions, and there was ones in there. I quite liked it because it was just completely rough around the edges. It just sounded like something that would have gone on in there, this keg stand thing.
It probably, actually, maybe when we
sounds horrific, but
when we get to go back to Vegas, which might be next October, it might not, if that happens, maybe we should go there and do a keg stand. Well, we go to and then we'll have to go to the pepper mill to recover, probably.
Yeah, I'll go and buy like $100 whiskey or whatever it was last time. We had some silly night out that we decided we needed to go and spend.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't either of ours round, so it was probably not a bad idea in the end. But
all right, let's stop mucking about here. What? Yeah. Tell me.
Was that the night when you got thrown out of that restaurant, or that they wouldn't serve you?
That never happened. So this is from Chris, which is, I think, is a great. Of course you are. Chris says, if you guys had backing to produce your dream show, what would it be? I think that's the best question we've had in the chat in a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know the answer yet. Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to throw it to you first, Ben. We're going on the single for you, and here we go.
I would say, to be honest, the thing that I'm working on right now, but with proper crew, proper budget, the guys that I'm working with are amazing, and we're traveling. So I think to do that on a bigger scale, to be traveling, well, just the whole travel and food thing, to me, more of the travel stuff within it as well. The food stuff's great, and I think this has become it's almost more slightly contrived in the way that we do it, in terms of it has these sort of Top Gear challengey type segments and things in it, the way the travel's done. But great fun to do. So I don't know. I think that I would love to do, and we are actually talking to people about doing this and sponsoring it, and as being able to do it on a bigger scale next year, and probably an international thing rather than it being just Czech. This one we've done in as much Czech language as we can. It's a bit of English as well, but a little bit of Italian, a little bit of Slovak. It's a slightly strange mixture. But obviously it's a very limited market. There's only 10 million people here, and the Czech language is only spoken here. So you've got a very limited audience for it. So it was for a specific platform this time, but we have the rights to it all to go and do it again. So that, I think, would just be amazing. Bryce, that's exactly what it is, like the Grand Tour, but for food. This is kind of what we've done on a very budget scale now. But because we've done all sorts. We've had supercars, we've been skydiving, we've done sort of horseback stuff. So I think that would be just done with a crew that's more than me would be amazing. But like done properly with proper budget, I think would just be phenomenal fun. Because the production of all of this has been fantastic fun. The post not so much, but that's really not my bag. Yeah. Nice. And you, Jem, what will be yours?
Well, before I answer that, I would say that David has switched to a whiskey and ginger ale, just so I don't cringe again on the what was he drinking? It was pretty nasty. Oh, eggnog and rum. You'll need that ginger ale to settle your stomach after you eat eggnog and drink eggnog and rum. That's what I would say. Yeah. Okay. My turn. I think for me, honestly, it's an idea I've been churning around for a long, long time, which is, I guess for lack of a better title, we call it On Set. And it would be just having completely open access to really large productions, and then access to not only creating content about how the production is running, but also having interviews with not just the directors and the DPs, but the first ACs and the camera operators. And so it just becomes this ongoing, you're on the biggest movies in the world, or the biggest televisions in the world, but you just have access to create amazing, like, you remember all the amazing DVD content that used to be on the extras? And like a good example of that would be the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You know, there was a team that was just creating all of this content about how everything was being done, from production design to props and everything else. If I could just live on movie sets and create content around that and create compelling content, I think that would be pretty amazing. You know,
I think that there's be a huge audience for that. Like you say, that it was always such a thing. And it's just disappeared. The way that we consume media now, we
Yeah.
don't get access to that. I guess people maybe are producing it, but I don't know how it's not readily available. It's not tagged on to the main content. That
Nope.
would be an amazing thing. People are missing a trick with that. So as well as having the trailer
Yeah. And it's not just for one film. It's
on
not like
Netflix.
creating electronic press kit or behind the scenes or the making of for one movie. It's like every episode is an hour or 2 hours long, but you have access to the best shows that are being made on Netflix and Amazon and Apple TV Plus and going to theaters and HBO Max. And it's just every week you get to watch this essentially movie length behind the scenes of how everything was done, but you're not just meeting one person.
So I think that's and obviously because of what we do, this is the interesting. But the BBC's Natural History Department is renowned for being the best at that anywhere in the world. So it's the David Attenborough Natural History Programming.
Yes,
Amazing
no question.
stuff, always.
Yeah, yeah,
So when they do those programs, and you've got, I don't know, something like Penguin Colony that they're doing, and they've got this amazing shot, and you think, well, that's, and you're obviously wowed by it when you watch it.
yeah.
But on a lot of those series, they've then started doing 10 full minutes at the end explaining how that particular sequence was captured and the dedication, the time. So they might have been 6-7 months waiting for this one thing to do, or following this particular species across its migratory path or whatever. And it's absolutely incredible. And the crews have been camping out for that entire time.
Yep.
And just the effort that goes into it. And it's just, obviously because of what we do, it's fascinating, but it's had massive wide appeal. And I think generally all the reviews say the same thing, that the program itself is amazing, beautiful, but also the most interesting part of the whole thing is just how, when you're watching it, you don't have no appreciation of the amount of suffering that has gone in.
Yes. Yeah.
To that one shot. And this hasn't been a chance, oh great, we caught this when we were out and about on safari. This has been an absolute search for this planned shot for months and months and months and months. And incredible that an organization like the BBC can fund that and can just say, like, we're just going to keep that crew out there for 6 months to get this potentially 10 seconds of footage that we're going to use in this doc.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think, and you're saying the same thing, from having that real sort of explanation of it, but also tied to the main content, I think would be fascinating. I think people have a not just us, I think normal people have a huge thirst for knowledge for all this stuff.
Well, people loved it when they used to do it on DVDs, and James is right. I mean, they are doing some stuff like that with extras when you get movies and things, but it's specific to that movie as opposed to being able to, essentially like Living Planet and shows like that, having something like that, but it has to do with, what this industry has to go through in order to make a film or a TV show. And, it's kind of like how it's made, but really behind the scenes and interviews and everything else. But it's never ending because there's so much great content being created. So I would like to do that. And I appreciate Small Brown Fox saying you've missed the C-47. I don't know what that means, but the studio is being built. I've cleaned out the whole area where I shoot in the barn, and they've actually poured concrete footings for the big header. And hopefully by springtime, I'm going to be creating content out of there. So that would be fun. Some good comments here. Is it me or is the live stream intermittent? That's not a good comment. That's a questionable comment for everyone else. Bill, I don't know if it's intermittent just for you or for other people as well. I'd be interested to hear. Yeah, so it's good to have Small Brown Fox here as well. And what else do we have? Man, it's a lively chat today. My idea is more journalistic, whereas a DVD extra is more of a promotional angle on BTS content. Yes, I mean, I would say that there are exceptions to that. If you, again, look at the trilogy for Lord of the Rings, I think that was done with purpose, and it was really less of a promotional thing, even though it was a part of the DVD extras. It was obviously decided by Peter Jackson and everybody involved that they wanted to document the entire process of that trilogy being made, and that's some of the best behind-the-scenes content I've ever seen. I can hear myself in my headset again because of your mic position. I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on here. Don't change it. Don't change it. I can live with it.
I'm not touching it. Do you know what I think is maybe the problem with the cups on these cans now? Over the last 6 months, while I've been doing production work during COVID, that some jobs, like the big thing I was doing last week, which was kind of an interesting job. It was a theatre production that they normally do this nativity play every year. They couldn't do it this year for obvious reasons. So they actually got all the it's a puppet theatre, but it's a mixture of live actors and puppets. It's incredible. It's a very famous theatre company here. And they took over this church and filmed it all there. It was an amazing, beautiful thing. But a lot of people around, a lot of people touching your gear, not sound this time. But in the summer when I was doing this, I was disinfecting stuff. And the disinfectant stuff has completely destroyed all the cups on these, and they've melted away.
Those are
the
7506s, right?
They are, yes.
Yeah, and they tend to bleed a little. They're definitely not like the Sennheisers. You can hear the outside world. I actually know a lot of sound recorders who use them. I find them very hard to use because there's so much ambient noise that bleeds in as well, that it's hard for me to differentiate. So I don't like noise canceling headphones, but the reason I like the Sennheisers, the HD25 series, is when you put those on, it basically blocks out all of the noise. And my uncle told me, I don't know if it's true, but those, like the 7506s, the Sennheiser 25 series has been around since the 70s. And apparently Sennheiser originally designed those for Concorde, because Concorde is so loud. And so when people would wear headphones on the plane, it would noise cancel, but without the noise that you get, in order to help with that. So I don't know if that's true. I've never looked into it. It may be a tall tale, but I'm going to go with it.
Don't look into it, because it's a great story, and I think it would be a shame for that to be disproved.
Especially because it's for my uncle, and he's one of my favorite people.
It's a great story. I'm not looking that up either. I'm going to just start telling people that's the thing.
I would agree with you, Daniel. By the way, I loved that whole part of the Lord of the Rings where they show you the whole BTS of the Force perspective of how they shot Gandalf and the Hobbits and all of that stuff. It's just fascinating the way they did that. So it made it look like Gandalf was huge compared to the Hobbits, and it's all that Force perspective stuff, which was awesome. There was some math, or as they would say in the UK, some maths involved in that.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
But that whole force perspective thing is really interesting and the maths involved. So if you ever go to NAB and you go to Vegas and you go onto the strip and you get onto the strip and you go, that hotel looks like it's 15, 20, 30, 40, 100 meters away. It's 4 miles away. You start walking and you think you just walked across the Sahara Desert. And it's all this weird playing with this mathematical force perspective of the way that whole thing's designed. That's it.
You have no idea how loud it is here. Dogs are going. Can you hear that?
They are, aren't they?
Yeah. Let's hope that doesn't happen in a news shooter show. They're going crazy. You know what? I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. It's the little dog from my in-laws. It's that little poodle, because she just sets everybody else. Oh, she does. Okay, listen, I got to go back to some comments here. I don't care if the dogs are barking. I've done my texting.
Yeah.
We can only hope for the best. So here's a comment from Chris. I wonder if manufacturers of gear are going to ensure that their products can withstand a bit of hand sanitizer or other harsh cleaning substances going forward.
Good point.
Interesting. Good point.
Really good point.
Ben, I've had the same issue, says Harrison. I've had to replace the 2 times on 2 different sets of headphones this year. Don't get me demonetized. Hey, Ben, are you going to get a C70? Are you going to get a C70?
I'm really tempted to get a C70.
You know, I'm tempted too. I'm tempted. I'm actually tempted.
I am. I think I would. I don't think I could justify it without selling my C200. but I think the form factor makes a lot of sense for me. The improved AF,
Yeah.
although I see some mixed reviews on how that's working. Definitely more sensitive.
Yes.
Definitely, you know, the C200 definitely has some weak spots in the way that works,
Yep.
but the frame rates, the form factor, the 10-bit internal. I've had that camera 2 years now. I've shot one job in RAW, and to be honest, that was really just because it was a very contained job with not a huge amount of. It was all very scripted, and we could get away with doing it without burning masses of card space. And it's lovely. The image of it, the raw image is amazing of it, but I don't use it enough to warrant having it
Yeah.
just for that alone. Yeah, I probably will, but I need to just get this big pile of work that I'm on with now. I bought a van last week, finally. So there's a bit of money that needs chucking at that right now. So I think once all that's done, we get Christmas out of the way, and then in January, and I can just do a bit
Have
of
a think.
totting up. Yeah, but I'm very, very seriously tempted. I saw a really interesting video, and I can't remember who it was by, on YouTube this week, which was a comparison between the C70 and the Komodo.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting. It's quite interesting. Yeah, which has kind of made me more interested in the C70 than I was before, I think.
Yeah. I think after that C300 Mark III shoot, even though I wasn't in studio, I was directing. I just, it's doing good things. Okay, and it's a sharp sensor compared to the C200, which tends to be quite soft.
Which really isn't. It's very soft.
It's very soft. I mean, all of this talk about cans and muffs and soft, I don't know what's going on here. So, Shinerbach, by the way, is a beer that I had for the first time, Daniel, when I went to, I believe, Austin, Texas, because it's a very Texas kind of thing. And I like a cold Shinerbach every once in a while. It's great with some barbecue. So, I just wanted to say that. I don't know why. Good. Well, we have... wait, what's the... Oh, God, Small Brown Fox is coming in. Coming in with some... When you start seeing symbols in there, then you know there's problems.
Which one are you referring to? It's a rat.
Small Brown Fox in the Czech Republic too. Loads of the some things. There's loads of them. How do you know about... What is the deal with rats in Oregon? I don't know why you think there's so many rats. There's a lot of gophers in Oregon. I'm sure there are rats in Oregon, but I don't know.
Wait, what's the rat talk? I've missed this.
That was up there. Small Brown Fox said there are lots of rats in Oregon, though that may be code for something. They are fiends.
Is he not?
And the Czech Republic too. Loads of the... What's he talking about? He's an expert. We think Small Brown Fox is a he, maybe a she, maybe not. I don't know. Let us know. But Small Brown Fox is an expert on rats.
I'm intrigued now as to
uncomfortable
why
silence.
That is the case.
Oh,
I mean, he's a fox.
Small rodents. Okay, yeah. Well, all right. So
I don't know. It was like a Manx thing. But I don't know.
Wait. So Bill says sorry to hear that. I don't know if he's sorry to hear that Daniel lives in Kansas, or he's sorry that Daniel lives in Kansas. Because I can only imagine that's what you mean. Well, Small Brown Fox does have a cat icon. I've had a drink too. You don't start saying stuff like that by having... If the drink that you poured was a five finger pour, then that's understandable.
No, when he's saying it's a ratter, I think he was meaning that like the small yappy dogs are ratters and that they go after rats.
Oh,
if that's all that stems from. Right.
We're getting a lot of mileage out of this one. You know what, Small Brown Fox? I am intrigued as well. I think you should come in and give us some more clarification because I want this to become even more interesting. By the way, we're using Ecamm Live for our live stream. They are not a sponsor, even though they're sort of a sponsor. And I think with some continued upgrades, this is probably one of the best out-of-the-box Mac-based live streaming solutions there are out there. If you want to go all out, then you would look into Boink's software solutions, which are amazing. But this is for the every person. Oh, Bill is sorry that he's out of beer, not that he's from Kansas. It makes sense now. It all makes sense. So, Carp,
I've never been to Kansas.
I have.
What's that? Car?
I've been to a
Have
lot
you?
of places. Yeah, I've been to a lot of places. Okay,
Okay.
so actually, oh yeah. My mother-in-law went to college in Kansas. Okay, let's have a little more wine.
Okay. All right. Well, another just on a watching, which you may have covered the last couple of weeks, because I didn't watch the episodes back as I've been just crazy busy. But the one little respite I've had from this ridiculous edit pattern of waking up at stupid o'clock in the morning and editing, coming downstairs, sitting over there, editing until I go to bed, which has been my life for the last God knows how many weeks. One more to go. But the one little respite that I've had, and the one Netflix series that I've devoured over the last 2 weeks, particularly because and surprisingly my kids have got really into, is The Queen's Gambit. Have you seen this?
Yeah, brilliant. You know, it's the
It's
most popular.
Isn't it
Do you know, it's the
amazing?
most popular show that's ever. Is it Amazon Prime or Netflix? You know, they blur together now.
Netflix.
Whichever. It's on Netflix. It's the
Netflix.
most
Yeah.
popular show that Netflix has ever had. Apparently, you know, original content, even more than
Even
like The Crown and yeah, just
Stranger
bigger.
Things and really.
Apparently, I don't know why. Maybe because it's short. There's some important
Maybe.
things, by the way, that we need to. Let's see. Okay, I don't understand what Cine Match. I'm waiting. There's just been a lot. Let's get down to business here. Has anybody tested Cine Match for camera matching yet?
I have a demo version of it to try, but I just have not got around to it because I'm you know, when you edit systems very deep in a very big project, and the last thing you want to do is do anything that might
$1,000,000%.
trip anything up. So the second this is over, I am desperate to have a proper play with it. It looks amazing. So yes.
Good.
Yes and no.
No, not
Yes.
yet.
But will.
Camille
No,
got
not
his
yet.
Mix Pre 6.2 today. I think you were the one asking about two options last week or the week before. All right, Bryce has asked this question twice. So, storage question with an exclamation point. What do you two do for storage and archive all your projects? What do you save? What do you get rid of? I mean, we only have 10 minutes, but we generally, for like client projects, we're on a RAID. So that's what we'll do. And then I have one of those drive caddies, and you can put 12 terabyte drives in there, and then we'll do like backups to those and archive those. I don't have an LTO type, storage solution or something like that. But that is generally what I'm doing. And then when we're doing production, we're always backing up to 2 drives and trying to make sure that those drives go to separate locations. And then Chris says, oh yeah, that's the one you're curious to. So that's what I'm doing right now. What are you doing on this show? What's kind of the deal?
So the way that I generally do stuff, so on production stuff, I take a pair of equal size drives, or however many drives we're going to need to get everything on for the project. Those then are kept always separate, and 2 different locations. Normally try and choose 2 different brands of discs as well. So if I'm using 4 terabyte drives, so for this one it's 4 terabyte drives, both different brands. There might have been a manufacturing problem. There might be some kind of issue with a particular operating system. I normally format one in NTFS and one in Mac. I don't know why I do that, but it just seems like I'm, again, just making things different with the 2. They're backed up. Then when it comes to edit, those then get put on that RAID system behind, which is the RAID 0 system, which is very fast but very unsafe, obviously. And editing as we go, everything getting backed up on my edit files. So I use a sort of Google Drive, which then automatically backs up my project files as we're editing. So those are constantly being backed up as we go. And then at the end of the project, at the end of the edit files get put back onto the drives that were bought for the particular project.
Yep.
And those then get kept in. I keep one Matteo, who's the sort of leading guide with the rest of it, he'll take the other. And that's generally how I work with pretty much all client work. I don't always send the edit files and back to clients. Rushes if that's what's been agreed at the beginning, which is about half and half with the stuff I do. But then I just have a drawer down here absolutely full of hard drives.
Yep.
So that seems to be a reason to me. I don't know if that's the best way of doing things for me right now. That seems like a fairly cost-effective way of doing it. Those drives that are being used to with the project drives while we're capturing stuff, those are billed to the client. Always, that's a non-negotiable line item on the bill. You have to pay for 2 drives because
same. Agreed. And I don't save everything, Bryce, but we save most things. And the bigger the client, the more you work that into your contract with them. Like the client I have right now, we're using a media management system called Iconic. So everything goes up there, and that's where all of the assets, but then they have their own backup system because they have an IT department. They have an offsite backup solution, and they're looking into very seriously expanding into Amazon's AWS system for storage and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. David Carroll says, was that a 10.2 I just heard? If you don't know what a 10.2 is, it absolutely was not a 10.2. And I would say that well, you know,
is this your dogs again?
I don't know what a 10. I mean, a 10.2 to me is I've got to go away for a 10.2 because if you're going to go 10.1, that's going to be pretty fast. A 10.2, depending on who you are, that could be a while. If you're going to hear anything, David, which you didn't, that would have to be classified as something else. Because if something came out in a gas form, I don't know if there's a 10 dash that's associated with that. We could call it like a 10 1.5 or a 10.5. I don't know. What do we call it? That one, when there's a sound that's emitted. What do we call that, Ben?
I don't know.
I think that's a 9. A 9.1. Because nothing comes out. Maybe it's a 9.1. It's a 9-1 maybe. Okay. What is it? Is it a 9-9? It's a 9. You're almost in the 10s, but something's
there has to be a film industry radio term for that. Sure.
Yeah, is there a film industry term for that? By the way, CineMatch has a match for the C70 already, and they're coming up with R5, R6 soon, so that's pretty cool.
Cool.
Okay, a Giuliani. Daniel says it's a Giuliani. You know what? That might be it right there. It might be a Giuliani. Did you just hear a was that? Wait, hold on a second, Ben. Was that a Giuliani I just heard?
It wasn't a Giuliani my end, but
it might have been on your end. We're getting close. We're only 8 minutes away. Chris, I still have a DVX. I still have a DVX 100B, and it's my DV deck, even though I haven't used it like that for a long time. All right, a Giuliani. There we go. There we go. You just transferred a bunch of old VH tapes to your hard drive. Better be a couple of hard drives.
I'm scouring junk shops around here, like pawn shops, for a VHS deck that I can then just do the same thing with. I've got loads of my old college projects in a drawer in there, which I have no way of viewing or archiving or sending to the people that they were co-created with. So I'm on the hunt for a VHS deck, which is, you can buy them new, obviously, but I'm not spending that kind of money.
Yeah. By the way, I would say that for CineMatch, there is a pretty good sized market for Final Cut Pro. We've no longer put the X in there anymore, boys and girls. It's no longer Final Cut Pro X or 10 for some reason. So we weren't informed. We were just told. But I would say you've got a lot of people, just as many people probably doing mixed camera work in Final Cut Pro as they are in Premiere Pro. So getting CineMatch over there would make a lot of sense. Maybe you should roll it out at the same time as the M1 Apple Silicon update comes out. By the way, Apple is killing it with those M1s. I mean, they go
Those
multi-core. It's going to be insane. I mean, it's going to be insane.
The performance stuff that I have seen from, I mean, it's just an entirely rewriting of the way computer systems work. It's phenomenally impressive, and yeah, because I was completely ready to abandon Apple for everything. I've been using PC for my main edit machine for maybe 4 years now. I still have this that we're recording this on, which is MacBook Pro, but 5-6 years old now. And I was ready to just go PC for everything, but I'm pretty much sure I'm going for one of these little M1.
Yeah, I might just get a.
It's just insane.
I mean, even just like put a monitor on it and grab a mini for $700 US.
I mean, the minis are incredible. It's absolutely amazing.
I mean, it's basically just what they're putting into the laptop without the screen and the keyboard, you know?
Yeah.
And $700. I mean, and let me just tell you right now how inexpensive. I'm not talking about, you know, critical monitors, but monitors now are like, I just bought a new one here for this new teleprompter setup because I had a 10-inch screen and a 10-inch or 12-inch teleprompter, and I just upgraded to a 13.5-inch screen and a 16-inch teleprompter, and the whole thing cost me $340 US. I mean, that's just bonkers. And I've increased my real estate by a lot. I can actually read what you're saying now, everybody. It's pretty great. Well, if Slavic ordered a loaded mini, then I'm going to have to order one too, because we're Oregon bros. So, you know, you never know. Living less than an hour away from each other. Maybe I'll go steal it from him. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Good. So we are 4 minutes out, and really Apple is, they're killing it. H.265 cameras coming out at M1 processors, and if Blackmagic nails it with Resolve when they come out with the silicon version, then you know, watch out Adobe. Because we know a lot of people are still going to use Final Cut, but that could be pretty good. Yeah.
And the new version of Resolve is excellent. And there's been this weird thing. Resolve has been my preferred NLE for a while, but there's still little things that it doesn't quite work as well as Premiere does in terms of just the nuts and bolts of how it does things. Things like syncing in the timeline, multiple clips. But now it does do that, and it's just every step it's getting better and better and better, and that is now very optimized for the new M1 Max. So if they seem to be very tight with Apple, things seem to be moving very quickly. They're keeping up, which is again another big reason to go back down that route, even to the point where I may end up going back to Mac for my main edit machine as well as laptops. Wow. So it's
don't say things too loudly out here. Might need to watch my first Christmas movie tonight. David Carroll says, any thoughts? Yes, Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Done. Okay, that's the end of that conversation. Chris says that Slavic's probably trying to make his new M1 Mac do Bitcoin mining. Clearly, you know Slavic well. Speaking of monitors, I just scored one of those HP Dreamcolor 31s from B&H for $599. So $599 plus $799 for a Mac Mini, and things are looking pretty good. Oh, there he is. Digital Filmmaker shows up. He's been listening in the background. Of course he has. Sorry. I hope your cyber. Oh, whatever, forget it. Thinking about buying Blackmagic Pocket Camera 4K just to get a Pro Resolve license. Or spend $295 right now if you like the little controller for the cut page and get Resolve for free for that. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly the same price as the license on its own. Yeah, you should.
I agree.
No, this way. It's all the wrong way around. You should definitely.
It's not. I'm looking at you based on this. Am I supposed to be this way? No,
I don't know.
What I see,
this is like the
from what I see,
being mirrored.
For looking at you, I'm looking at you. You'll have to tell me.
No, you're right. Yeah.
All right, good. All right.
But yes, buy
1
buy
minute.
the little controller thing, the cut thing, the speed cut, I think it's called, whatever it is, the controller. Then you get the license and that for free. So if you
All right.
unless you really want the camera, then obviously get that too.
Just remember, we're at Camera Flask here. This is episode 9285/120. And I wouldn't call it an exclusive club, but it is kind of like a speakeasy here. You got to tell your friends about it. We're not trying to make it big here. We're just trying to hang out every week, have a chat, talk about equipment. I think there is no off topic anymore, Rabbit Tribble. Where did both of you buy your glasses? I have no idea. But we talked about glasses a few weeks ago. Come on.
We did, yeah.
You're
Well,
taking the
let's not do that
piss.
again.
You're taking the piss. All right. Kit says, don't ever call it that again. And with that, whatever that again is, we are ending off. It's 4 p.m. Pacific time. I'm heading over to the new Shooter channel. I'm going to change my shirt, and we've got Philip Grossman. And if you think it's just Chernobyl with him, it is not. I think it's going to be a fascinating chat with myself, Eric Naso, and Matt Allard, who apparently is coming from the hospital, is where he's going to be doing it from this week. Yeah, well, he had major surgery last week.
Okay?
He's doing well. Yeah, he's doing fine. Knee surgery,
Good.
and he's doing great. It was just a
cool.
basketball, but major. I mean, like a big deal, but still. Film Kit, 1 a.m. in
all
Europe. Time for some Z's for you, or some Z's, as we like to say here on the C47. Nikon, tomatoes, avocados. Boys and girls,
It's time
I
to
got to
call the whole
reset
thing
here.
off.
Speaking, Tommy coming in at the end. Let me just say, Small Brown Fox, I am not surprised if it's 3 a.m. why you've been saying that. Have fun on the A380 in the top deck drinking. And
Yes, do.
we'll be back next week with Caleb. We'll be chatting. And, what are you going to do? Watch the replay. Buy some lights. Exactly. And there you go. Take care. Bye, everyone. All the best.
Night.